Hey, peace world. I'm not really jumping in here to do a whole lot, but I did think this was an important enough album that it needed to be discussed, and that people, in hopes that people check it out. The project is called A Beautiful Revolution Part 1. Usually I'm trying to live stream this just to be efficient and avoid all the post activity that goes on with the album. But I know last week, um, Busta Rhymes came out and garnered most of the attention, and deservedly so, with his Extinction Level event, Part Two, The Wrath of God. Dope album, phenomenal effort from Bus, and it's got the big time features on there and everything. So without encroaching on Common's time here with the Beautiful Revolution Part One, um, check that out. And it's easy to get caught up in how the magnitude of that album. But then right here with this A Beautiful Revolution Part One is this really dope EP that I'm hoping a lot of people get around to and put an ear on. A lot of similar themes, just said a different way. But let me focus on Common. As you know, his name is Lonnie Rashid Jr. He's an Oscar winner, a Grammy winner. Probably has a dozen something albums right now, and the brother has really been putting in the work. If you go back to Black America again, that was right after the current administration came into the White House. He felt like he needed to speak on some things. I thought that project was pretty dope. He came out as part of a group called August Green, and the name of the album is titled after the group August Green. The other two group members were pianist Robert Glasper and Kareem Riggins. Both of these guys appear on this project, and pretty much Kareem Riggins, who I really just thought was a drummer, he produced the EP, all 9 songs, or co-produced. There's a couple where Robert Glasper is on here, and and another cat. We'll get to that in just a second. But the August Green album was pretty dope. It was pretty powerful. And then in 2019, August of 2019, he also dropped Let Love, which was a really dope record as well. And you got to think, man. I mean, in comparison, if we were going to talk about I believe not BET One, TV One, my bad, but it'll be a long time before they get around to actually being able to do an unsung on Common, because the brother has been doing this since 1992. That's the first time I saw him when he had the video for Take It Easy. And it's crazy how much his style has changed. Uh, and just the longevity is really worth noting. He's really one of the most unique characters in all of rap music, honestly. And this is kind of what you would expect to come from a cat from Chicago and the Midwest, when you really don't fit in, with the coast and whatnot. He came in the game. I don't know if you remember, but it was some brothers named the UAC. They're no longer around. Years later, Kanye came on the scene. Twista, uh, Do or Die, I believe was the group name, and other individuals. But he's still here standing the test of time, man. And I just really wanted to come on and say this was a pretty dope project. And color coding the songs, I put the ones in red when I think they're really hot or really dope. There's 9 tracks on here. Track 1 and track 9 is an intro and an outro. So I'm not really gonna count those. The other 7, I have all of those highlighted as red for fire. So it's a very enjoyable album. It's probably a little bit too preachy for most. Um, Common shows you how poetic he is, how thoughtful he is, how well read he is. He sat around and thought of a lot of things to say, and to say them in very mature, very thoughtful ways. and the album really delivers. So getting into so before we jump into kind of talking through the tracks, one thing that he said about making his album was, regardless of the outcome of the election, which it's the day after November the 3rd, this is the 4th, regardless of the outcome of the election, we need to make sure things do not return to the status quo. The intention of the music is to channel all of our pain and outrage into something productive, inspirational, and good. It's to help lead a movement into our next phase of the work to be done. That's part of the quote. There's more at the beginning and at the end. That was kind of the meatier part of it, in my opinion. And like I said, man, a lot of people, a lot of brothers I could imagine, man, don't even want to. You're talking stuff like this, and you have a message like this. A lot of brothers not even trying to stop and give you any time. You got to be yelling. You got to be more aggressive. You got to be more over the top with it, and that's probably not. And that's why a Busta Rhymes project right now probably really works, because Busta's is so turned up, it's so aggressive, it's in your face. You know, it's really rough and rugged and rebellious, and that's probably more enjoyable for most. But again, like I said, I'm just trying to urge people to check this project out. Um, sometimes you're walking with your music. Sometimes you're driving with your music. Sometimes you're alone with your music. I'm about to be on my bike in a minute for 35, 45 minutes, or on a treadmill for an hour. I got a lot of personal time, especially right now in 2020, where I'm listening to music in a lot of different scenarios. And this one is really fitting, you know, just I'm kind of coining a new phrase, like in between your ears music. It's just something for you to enjoy and get into it and take in everything that he's discussing here. So I'm gonna jump into it really quickly. Um, Track one, A Beautiful Revolution, is the intros. Like I said, it's produced by Kareem Riggins. There's no samples on the album as far as I know of. There's one female named PJ who pops up on nearly every track and does the vocals and the work in the chorus. She kind of has a tone like Dej Loaf, but she can actually sing. And I mean, as far as I know, she's just a vocalist, but she has a really great touch to the album. But getting into this, the intro, I think it's Ursula Rucker is who does this spoken word piece to open up the album. It's odd that they don't even mention her name or credit her anywhere, but if you listen to hip hop throughout the years, or watch Def Poetry Jam when that was on HBO. I'm pretty sure Ursula Rucker has been on there. I believe Ursula Rucker was also on Nas's Nostradamus album. I think she did the poetry on there. But she does a really dope poem to open up the album and kind of set the stage for it. And she has this line on there about we beautiful broken that really just hit home and kind of summed up things on what the community is kind of going through right now. And then she also just has a little line in there about the peace of mind of being safe. And I think right now I'm just talking through this with my wife, and a lot of stuff that's going on and has been going on the last several months. You never thought that just wanting to be safe in America was like this thing that you really had to think about and be concerned about. You just kind of assumed that you were safe, but you see right now with what's been going on that that's not really the case. At any given moment, you could be visited by some circumstances that you're just totally unprepared for. You see the people up in Detroit right now, things getting kind of heated with the recount. I turned the TV off, but that's not really a safe situation, and that's just citizens on citizens. And so I thought it was dope that I don't want to get on my soapbox with it, but I just thought that it was dope how she mentioned the word safe and something to be mindful of. Getting into track two, it's called Falling. Some guitar, some nice drums. I think the use of the guitar throughout this project is really dope and really makes the album musically. Like I said, I didn't know Kareem Riggins to do much else besides drums, but he produced everything. So, tip my cap to him. And he's more of a jazz guy versus just straightforward hip hop. So it's dope that he can come over into this genre and do such a solid job. but it's just some historical references in this Fallen song, and then it works its way up to what's going on today and kind of a lot of the messaging that you see out here about about the community staying positive, uh, joining together, being strong, being informed, so on and so forth. It just kind of encapsulates everything of what's going on right now. I really like that joint. Say Peace features Black Thought. Um, this beat, I'm not gonna lie, this beat is not my favorite. It's not my favorite track on the album, but it's not a bad song. And I mean, and obviously, when you have Calm and Black Thought trading verses or trading bars, it's hard for it not to be a dope song. Plus, you've heard these cats throughout the years collaborate. So Say Peace, and I think that's the single that might have come out last week. I think you can catch a animated video or something on Common's YouTube page. But I mean, Thought has some great bars in there. The wordplay, the vocabulary itself is elite level, and it's just two veteran guys just chopping it up and doing a hell of a job of it. So Say Peace works. Track 4, What Do You Say, Move It Baby. This is kind of like an old school dance floor joint to me. It's kind of upbeat. It's a little smoothed out a little bit more than everything on here. It's actually somewhat reminiscent of The Light, Common's one of his big songs back in the day. The theme of it, or the concept, is kind of the same. And it's just talking about kind of being, for me, it's talking about being harmonious with others. It's also him probably talking to, in the first verse at least, talking to a significant other. And just reiterates the overarching message of the album, which is love, peace, confidence, empowerment, stuff like that. So that one is a dope record. Courageous is track 5. This one actually features Robert Glasper on the production, on piano. And I don't know, again, he's not credited on here, but I think I saw Stevie Wonder's name pop up, maybe on that latest Big Sean album. But somebody comes on here at the end of this and plays some harmonica. I don't know if it's Stevie Wonder or not. I know Stevie Wonder is mentioned a couple of times in this album, and I think this was one of the songs. It was a little play on Inner Visions, which is one of Stevie's album, one of his classic albums. But it's a dope record. PJ does the chorus really well. She's talking about, I'm not claiming, pretending to be what I'm not. I'm no angel. And the song basically is just about be courageous enough to be true to yourself with all of your flaws and all of your strengths, and understand that nobody's perfect. And then also another thing that I'm getting out of it is kind of reclaiming one's life and just going out here and going for yours. He has something in here, a line about be about more than just survival. And I think that's a very dope message to everybody, because a lot of people, you fall into a situation where you work, I mean, as you go through life, you get there where you start making certain decisions, and based on a series of decisions, like what you could have done in life is down here, and the direction that you're going in life is over here. And it takes a lot to kind of recalibrate, to regroup, and go back and give yourself a chance to do other things. And there's a bunch of people on YouTube right now. If you watch a lot of us, we're obviously on YouTube doing things that we really love, but a lot of us, that's not what we do for a living. And I think this kind of speaks to that. It's like reclaiming your life, reclaiming your potential or your promise. He also says, there's a self I gotta take care of in order to share love with the world. And I think that's another thing that I see pretty regularly, is hurt people. It's a lot of people out here trying to lead people right now, in my opinion, who are hurt in various ways and don't understand certain things, and they've struggled with a lot of things, and they have these limitations, but they're out here trying to influence and lead others, and kind of not cognizant of what they struggle with and what their limitations are. It's a lot of people who have these noticeable limitations, in certain areas. And you try to speak to other people and guide other people in those areas, that's a little reckless to me. Things that I don't know a whole lot about probably are gonna be the things that I speak least about. That's how I roll. But Courageous is a really dope record, man. I really enjoy that one. I love the message on it. Really dope record. And then just another thing about that Survival, I can't. It's a poet. I don't know if that was Nikki Giovanni, somebody I saw lately, but and it's a lot of this right now, and I've mentioned this before on the channel. You know, you can focus on racism a lot, and you can focus on history and what happened in the past, and forget about living your life and taking advantage of what's possible right now. And I'm not sitting here trying to say ignore all of that stuff or whatever. But I'm just saying, but I am saying that, you know, nobody in history, nobody on this planet has ever changed history. It is what it is. So don't sit here losing today and next year and 5 years from now and 10 years from now. You really can't afford to lose that time living focusing solely on what happened back here. And I think that's another part of that, be more about than just survival. You got to live your life. You're only going to be here for, a very limited time. When you look at it, it's a blink of an eye in a way. And you got to maximize that, or you should maximize that. And the sooner that you can learn that message in your life and take hold of that, you can really do a lot more in your life versus just surviving. Anyway, enough of that. Track 6, A Place in the World. This also features the young woman I was just talking about, PJ. This one is co-produced by Bernice, Earl Travis II, and Kareem Riggins again. Some guitar on this one that I think is really dope. Common is kind of getting at some politicians. I mean, it's really apropos. It came out Friday, right ahead of the election. But he was kind of calling politicians holding their feet to the fire a little bit and saying, we the people are coming reborn. There's an awakening. People are more informed. Communities are working more closely together. Knowledge and information is abundant, and people can take advantage of that. And that you just can't fool all of the people all of the time. And then also with the title and what's going on in the chorus, A Place in This World, is that for everybody listening to this record, I mean, if you can figure out what your lane is, there is a place in this world for you where you can ball out and do your thing and have a great life. I think, like I said, another powerful record, man. It's you could almost say like this. The other name for this album is like that what you see on social media. I don't know who needed to hear this today, but I'm saying it. All of these songs are kind of like, I don't know who needs to hear this, but here it is. Track 7, A Riot in My Mind, is one of my favorites on the album. It's probably one of my top 2 or 3 songs on here. This one features Lenny Kravitz. I think he plays some guitar on here. It's a really long intro that features some guitar soloing, and then some sirens come in to kind of create the scenery of a riot, from the title of the song. It's just a good record. It's probably the one of the few on here with a lot of energy in it, a lot of emotion in it, and I wish I would have made some more notes on what the main idea of the song is about. But it's like I said, it's probably my second favorite record on here. And then track 8 is Don't Forget Who You Are. Self-explanatory. PJ also sings on this one. It's co-produced by Robert Glasper again, as well as Bernice, Earl Travis II, and Kareem Riggins. And some piano work in here, some nice strings. It's a little more upbeat. This song would probably be my number 1 joint on here. Don't Forget Who You Are. Like I said, and then A Riot in My Mind, and then maybe Courageous. Like I said, all of them are pretty dope. But the two big bangers on here are probably A Ride in My Mind and Don't Forget Who You Are. And basically, man, this one is about love yourself and your heritage, and be mindful of your legacy, and whose shoulders you're standing out here when you're moving in the world, and to carry that dopeness out into the world with you recognizing what you bring to the table at all times. So another, like I said, man, it's a very empowering uh, album. It is what it is, and I think it's just emblematic, of a guy who's, I think Common is like 48 years old. It's a very honest record. You get older, people have kids, you have a wife or significant others. You can't really get out here and rap and continue to do what Griselda is doing. I know Griselda, I think all of them are parents, all of them are fathers. Benny, Westside Gun, and Conway, they're all fathers. But when they go do their thing, their lyrics and what they're rapping about really isn't. It really isn't beneficial to anybody that's listening to it. But it's helped all of them rise up out of the streets and out of poverty and whatnot. And it'll be interesting. That's what a lot of these guys run into when you get into your late 30s, your early 40s, and you're not even in that environment anymore. So how can you rap about it and peddle this, basically? How can you settle that? So he is what he is. I just mentioned he's a Grammy winner, Oscar winner. He's hosting things, in DC. I can't remember what the Kennedy Center or whatever, the Trumpet Awards, anything, big time and mainstream or black mainstream. I mean, they go and get Common to do it. So it's only right that when he drops an album, it's kind of it's this. But like I said, it's all dope to me. I think you got to work harder. I don't know. And like I said, I think with him, like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, support Bus in his project. Black Thought a couple of weeks ago was a phenomenal album. Royce the 5'9", his Allegory album, which came out earlier in the year, is phenomenal. I just stopped there because I can't remember all this stuff off the top of my head. Then really quickly, man, to get into track number 9 is A Beautiful Revolution, the outro. This is kind of like some utopian type stuff with random folks describing what a beautiful revolution is to them, and how a beautiful revolution would occur without anybody being hurt or injured. Kind of an exchange of ideas, enlightening the mind of other people's, shed light on concepts and thoughts that somebody might not be aware of, and they be open-minded enough to accept it, and to for there to be some agreement and out of that, and moving forward on one accord or something. All of this stuff is very high-minded stuff. Who knows if it's even possible at this point, based on a lot of the relationships out in the world nowadays. Us against them is so widespread. So like I said, utopian. Who knows if this is possible? But this is what the brother said here and wrote and produced, and I dig it. Also, I put on here, I dig the message that revolution can. I've mentioned this and reiterated this all the time on the channel. A lot of people want to do things on a very big level. And on this outro, it talks to a revolution can be small. It can be a revolution starts inside of one person. And I think a lot of us, you kind of have to be mindful of the fact that, everybody's not meant to be out in front. Everybody's not meant to be on the stage. Everybody's not meant to be touring the world. Everybody's not meant to be on real TV. You might not make it on that level, but it's a lot of small things that you can do here and there that are truly impactful and beneficial to your own life. So don't worry about the scale of your movement. Even here, I'm walking that out myself with my channel, you know, and other people that have channels. Whoever has, you know, if you got 30,000 subs or 40,000, 60,000, that's just what you have, and you keep working at it, and as long as it's something that as long as you maintain your enthusiasm, that's really all that matters. So that's that, man. Like I said, 9 Joints is an EP produced by Kareem Riggins. A lot of the same characters who've been with Common the last few years, like I mentioned on the other projects, Let Love, Black America Again, and August Green. It's all the same guys. And like I said, man, I really think Common deserves a lot of credit for this lane that he's occupying, making meaningful music. I know another phrase that I throw around is like responsible rap, responsible hip hop. Like I said, I ain't saying that everything has to be preachy. I listen to a ton of Griselda. I listen to a ton of Coke rap. I listen to, you know, a lot of hustle rap. I listen to everything. But I think one thing that's kind of missing today in the game, especially if you don't go out and find your own playlist, your own music, and expand your own horizons musically, the balance is just horrible. I mean, the balance in movies, you know, black television is kind of unbalanced. You gotta do that yourself. You gotta go find you know, music to kind of be a soundtrack to all of the different moments that you might have on a day-to-day basis. And that's that. Anyway, man, like I said, I was just coming on here to talk about this dope record, man. If I had to give it, you know, five stars out of 5 or out of 10, I easily say it's probably a strong 8.5. I think it's, you know, with the EP, you know, 7 to 9 songs, it's kind of hard to mess that up. You almost got to work. If you get to a point with 7 to 9 songs and it's horrible, you probably shouldn't even put it out when you were making it. But if you got a hot 9, a hot 7, it's kind of hard to get mad at that. I think I listened to it maybe in 35 minutes, 30 minutes. But it's a dope record, man. I hope the right people find it, give it some time, and respect what Common is out here doing. And obviously, like I said, the dude's been doing his thing for almost 30 years, man. 28 years now. And he's still one of the best dudes. I mean, and it's dope when he has a battle song like The Bitch in You that he made against Ice Cube, one of the best battle rap songs of all time, or diss records. I've heard him on cuts with Nas. He's held his own. Cuts with Kanye and held his own. Cuts with Jadakiss. I think he was on a remix of Why, held his own. I think he was on T.I.'s album, I believe, held his own. So it's really not, you know, it's really not anybody who he hasn't been on a record with where he didn't, you know, either hold his own or more than hold his own. So the dude is, like I said, he doesn't get a lot of credit as being one of the greats, but he's one of the most unique figures in hip hop, still making great music, and being truthful, being honest. It's not a lot of that in the game right now. Anyway, man, my name is Wood. Let me get on out of here. Thanks for everybody that rocked with me on it. Let me know if you have a favorite joint on the album, or if you get around to listening to it, or maybe you listen to it because you watched this. Whatever. Every once in a while, I talk about a project that isn't a big seller, or from somebody, you know, one of the obvious favorites out there, and I get a message on here where somebody is like, man, I was the one person that talked about it. Obviously, more than me should talk about this record or this album, but who knows if that happens. But for me, I've listened to it about twice now, man, and it's good music. I'm out. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Peace.